Trademark and copyright 2012.
Hello and welcome to round 8 of Grand Prix Salt Lake City. Day 1 here with Standard Constructed. We have on the left of your screen, Ricky Sidher, facing off against, on the right of your screen, Brian Kibler. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Rashad Miller.
Hey, how's it going? Ben, how's it going, Ben?
It's going well.
Come on, don't be rude. We just got in the booth together. I asked you a question.
It's
and
going
you
well, Rashad.
Ignore me.
How's it going with you?
Well, it was wonderful.
Grand Prix
until
competitors, welcome to round 8.
the announcement started.
You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
All right,
Okay.
so the players are going. So I think they might be waiting for us to say they can go, but we're ready for them to play. We may have some mulligans. I don't know if these players have resolved their mulligans. But while they're looking at their opening hands, I can tell you a little bit of what they're playing.
Okay.
All right, so Brian Kibler, if you've been watching the stream, you know what he's playing. He's playing green, white, splash red. It's the deck he's been working on for quite some time, and it's kind of morphed into this Naya aggressive deck with Birthing Time. So he has all of his favorites. He has Daybreak Ranger and Huntmaster of the Fells, and he has some great white cards like Blade Splicer. He's running Vorpede, which is great.
Oh, yeah, Vorpede's an amazing
Yeah,
card. And there we see a Blade Splicer on turn 2 for Brian Kibler.
That's exactly what he wants this deck to do. He wants to play a mana creature on turn 1, play a Blade Splicer on turn 2, get the aggression going early. Now, Rick Sidher, on the other hand, he is playing a deck that Brian Kibler has played in the past. Maybe I think on his stream. This is the red-green version of the deck, basically. I don't want to say it's the same deck, but from this deck comes the deck that Kibler's playing now. It's all in on Huntmaster of the Fells. It has it's a green Sun Zenith deck, and
Strangleroot guys.
Yep, and it has the Hell Riders.
Yep, the card as we saw earlier with Jackie Lee doing some work. So there we see another Blade Splicer for Brian after he gets in for 4.
Yeah,
but
so
Ricky's
scrambling to find a token.
But Ricky's got Sword of War and Peace at the ready to start dealing some damage, gaining him some life.
Look at that. We were just talking about attacking with the Birds of Paradise.
Yeah.
Now, I have attacked with the Birds of Paradise with a sword on it. Sword of...
Fire and Ice?
Yeah, Fire and Ice. That's the sword that I've had on my Birds of Paradise. But you know what? Sword of War and Peace does just fine as well.
Sometimes even better. But Kibler still does not have Birthing Pod yet. I mean, he doesn't need it right now, but that's a card that really makes fireworks fly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great card, especially right now where he has a bunch of... he has exactly one extra Blade Splicer in play that he can definitely sacrifice and get a 4-drop. But looking at the board position now, he has 2 3/3 first strikers and 2 1/1s. He has 8 power on the board. 8 power... actually 9 if you count the Avacyn's Pilgrim in the back. So, I mean, he can attack for 9 and force a trade with, the Llanowar Elf. He could go the aggressive route and try to race.
Yeah, one spot.
Especially, I mean, he still has cards in his hand as well.
You look at spot.
Right, but he's going to keep taking a lot from Sword of War and Peace out of Ricky Sidher, and Ricky Sidher's going to continue to gain a bunch of life because he's stuck on 3 lands, hasn't been able to cast very much. But Brian Kibler will get in with all of his creatures except for the Pilgrim, and Ricky looks like he's going to take 8.
So it looks like Brian just decided to develop his mana base so that he can later get rid of the cards in his hand to minimize the effectiveness of the one half of Sword of War and Peace.
Yep.
I guess that's the war half.
Most likely. It's not said explicitly, but now it's Ricky's turn. He's considering what he can do. Maybe cast that green Sun Zenith that he's flicking towards the top of his hand.
He has a lot of mana now. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to cast Acidic Slime,
Wow.
taking out one of Brian's lands.
He's only red. He's only a red source.
It's interesting. He had the ability to destroy one of the 3/3 golems if he so chooses.
Yeah, but Acidic Slime can do that. Well, it can't because they have first strike. You can't actually deal damage to them.
Right.
But
Come on up to the side
Ricky
of the
Sidher's
stage.
sitting.
Draft 29.
He's sitting pretty
I
right
saw what
now
you did there.
because that Birds of Paradise is going to continue to do damage, and not only does that get rid of Brian Kibler's red source, it knocks him down back to 3 mana. Now, if Brian can't cast very many spells, that's going to leave his hand, card and hand count at a high number, and that's just going to make him die faster.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a flyer to deal with the Birds of Paradise equipped with Sword of War and Peace here. So, Kibler has to find something. I mean, I saw Garrick Relentless in his hand, but that one land being destroyed by the Acidic Slime is really backbreaking for Kibler here. I mean, Kibler still has 8 power worth of guys, so he's, able to get in, but Ricky continues to gain life from that Sword of War and Peace.
Yeah, it looks like that was a pretty tentative attack with just one golem, and then...
But yeah, Phyrexian Metamorph from Brian Kibler will copy the Acidic Slime of Ricky Sidher and take out Ricky Sidher's Sword of War and Peace.
I mean, the beats are off right now. Turned off.
Yeah.
And Ricky Sidher does not have another sword in his hand, so he's not going to be able to continue that route. He's going to have to find another way to generate some offense.
Kibler semi-stabilized here at 6 life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we have a great
Jose
sunset.
Rodriguez in $10
Most likely getting a
number
Hunt Master of the
29.
Fells.
Come on up to the side of it, stage.
Yep, there's Hunt Master of Fells that will put a 2/2
Jose
Wolf
Rodriguez.
token into play and gain Ricky 2 life.
Now, the flip side of this is when the Hunt Master transforms if Brian Kibler doesn't play a spell. Or,
Yep.
if Rick Sidher chooses not to play a spell on his next turn, that 2 damage is
1/3 of Kibler's life.
Yeah, 1/3 of Kibler's life.
And you can take out the Acidic Slime, the Phyrexian Metamorph that's copying Acidic Slime.
Yeah, but, just being able to, flip it one way or transform it to Ravager of the Fells, and then you say that Korean Sun Zenith and another spell to transform it back to Huntmaster of the Fells, and then back to Ravager of the Fells. And you'd have to think that Ricky could also squeeze 2 damage in somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he has any direct damage in his deck.
Well, he does. He's
Yeah.
definitely playing red. He has a couple of Galvanic Blasts and Brimstone Valleys. I guess he figured everyone's expecting triple Galvanic Blasts, so he cut 2 of them and put in Brimstone Volley just to mix
$10
it up.
draft number 29.
We don't want to get
Side of the
Nevermore.
stage.
I would Nevermore against Brian Kibler.
Oh, when he's streaming and you can
Yeah.
see his hand.
We're just running a Nevermore and that other one from the 6 casting cost one from what's
Yeah,
that?
the artifact, the
No, it's an
gargoyle.
enchantment. There's an enchantment where you
Brian Welch.
exile a card from
You're
the
in the
player's
hall.
hand,
Commander,
and that
please
card
raise
can't be
your
played.
hand.
Isn't that in standard right now?
I'm not sure.
It may not be. It may have been in Eldrazi block, maybe, like the Eldrazi or before.
Yeah. Anyway,
But I know the Gargoyle you're talking about too.
yeah, it looks like a Garrick Relentless for Brian Kibler. He'll use that to take out Huntmaster of the Fells and transform it into Garrick the Veil Cursed.
Now we can put the defense up for quite some time, or generate a lot of offense, which is eventually what Brian's going to want to do.
I mean, he has to be a little bit careful, right? Sitting at 6 life, he can't be too aggressive, but he has amassed this large army thanks to the Blade Splicers, the Acidic Slime, and now Garrick will start pumping out some guys.
Actually, 6 is probably where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be at 5, because now he at least has the ability to trade with the creature, destroy a creature somehow, and not die to a Brimstone Volley.
Draft number 29.
Yep, and it looks like another Green Sun Zenith for another Huntmaster of the Fells for Ricky Sidher. So he'll go up to 17 thanks to the life gain.
Yeah,
Produce
now,
another wolf.
and now we're back in that same situation where it's just, you know what, we could both sit here, I can not cast a spell, then cast 2 spells, and then not cast a spell, and I'm probably going to win this game. Because I think I see some Strangle Geist in Ricky
Okay.
Sidher's hands, and that's a surprise 2 damage a lot of times.
Yeah. The haste creature from Dark Ascension, 2/1 Undying. But it looks like he's going to play one this turn and just pass it back.
So Brian Kibler isn't very comfortable right now, but he's not in immediate danger. He still has 6 power worth of First Strike, which can take down any of those creatures on
Commander
Ricky
bot number
Sidher's side if they
12.
decide
Come
to
on up
attack.
the side of the stage.
He has a
Commander
Death
bot number
Touch
12. Come on.
copy of Acidic Slime, so that can take out with whatever it chooses to block. And he has a constant stream of 1/1 Death Touch Wolves, Black and Green Wolves.
Yep, from the Garrick Veil Curse.
Yeah, so he has inevitability right now. The only thing he really needs to fear is a sword of some type.
I mean, he also needs to play a spell this turn so that the Huntmaster of the Fells doesn't transform.
Oh, he could take 2 damage now. The thing is, he takes 2 damage now. Ricky Sidher he only has 1 card in his hand left because he played the Strangleroot Geist this turn, so he can't immediately transform it back to Huntmaster of the Fells. So it's just a 4/4 that he has to deal with.
Okay.
He takes 2 damage, he goes to 4. Granted, he's in double Galvanic Blast or a single Morbid Brimstone Volley range, but
here
he still has a
Kibler-
lot of time.
Kibler uses the -1 ability on Garrick Vale Curse to sacrifice, I believe, a Blade Splicer to search his library for a creature. He's going to get Fiend Hunter to take care of the Huntmaster of the Fells. One of the interesting, lesser used abilities of Garrick. Usually with Garrick, you use its 0 ability, kill a creature, and then it dies. Your opponent attacks it.
Yeah. Not this game. This game, it got to play tutor.
You got to kill a Huntmaster and play tutor to get rid of a second Huntmaster. So now Ricky.
We're back
Mulling
at
over
that
South
stalemate.
Yeah.
But the stalemate's a little bit different. There isn't a planeswalker on Brian Kibler's side to encourage, for the inevitability.
So Ricky plays both a Thrun and a Birds of Paradise here. So it's interesting that he casts that Birds of Paradise. I expect that he's hoping to draw Hellrider in a few turns.
Hellrider would do it, but I think he had more than enough creatures for Hellrider to get the win. I think he just wants the extra mana.
Does he really need 8 mana?
I mean, he doesn't need it, but it's useful. He has multiple regenerations for Thrawn. His Green Sun Zeniths are for that much more. He doesn't have a target that large in mana cost.
Yeah, I think his biggest one is Acidic Slime, which he's already used.
It gives him a second bird in play in case something happens to the first if he gets a sword.
Okay.
It puts up a defensive front if he believes that, hey, maybe Kibler has some way to start to mount an offense. He wants himself another blocker. Immediately, it doesn't do anything. I'm sure it's going to get some use.
I mean, I don't doubt that it gets some use, but maybe you want to hold it in case you want to reflip over one of your Huntmaster of the Fells. But I guess he doesn't have one anymore. He only has 2 left in his deck. Probably unlikely that's going to happen in this game. He'd rather, yeah, like you said, have another flyer for a sword.
So the board is just getting more and more cluttered, at least on Ricky Sidher's side. Brian Kibler hasn't played a lot more, and he's still on just 2 land. 2 land, he has a Llanowar Elf and Absence Pilgrim. That's what he's been working with.
Well, of course, he had that
He did have a copper
Copperline Gorge
Yeah.
that got destroyed from Ricky Sidher's Acidic Slime. But it looks like Ricky wants to bring the beats in here. So he's going to attack in with a Wolf, a Thrun, 2 Strangle Rootgeist, another Wolf, and an Acidic Slime. Let's see how Kibler blocks.
Now that this extra bird actually gives him this opportunity to attack with a bunch of creatures and have an extra blocker just to, in case Kibler decides, well, I guess we'll try racing and attack with everything. That's probably not the best strategy for Brian, but, I don't know that Ricky's 100% familiar with all the cards in Brian's deck. Maybe he has an overrun.
Well, that is a legal card. That would be
He may
exciting.
need to soak up 1 more damage. Sometimes that 1 damage counts. I'd play Overrun in this deck.
Really?
I'd play Overrun in that other deck.
In the red-green deck?
Yeah.
I might play a 1 or 2 overrun in the red-green deck. Maybe in the sideboard. So looks like Kibler's deciding his blocks. It looks like the only unblocked creature that he'll let through is the Strangle Rootgeist.
Not really a block-worthy creature.
Yeah, but 2 damage might make a difference. He's blocking one of the
two
other.
the other option is to take 4 from Thrawn.
Yeah, he can't do that.
I think that's why he soaks up the most damage. Maybe that Llanowar Elf should have entered in that fight, got into that battle.
Ricky uses Undying from one of the Strangle Rootgeists to have it come back into play as a 3/2. Kibler really needs some mountains. I see he's got trapped in his hand 3 Huntmaster of the Fells and an Inferno Titan. But
Here comes a Daybreak Ranger.
isn't that Kibler's favorite card?
He likes it a lot. I don't know if he likes it more than Huntmaster on Fells. But it definitely has some uses in this format. It can chop down those birds.
That's true.
Chomp, chomp. A turn 2 Daybreak Ranger, this game is a lot different.
For sure.
Standard sealed
So, yeah,
players. Your
Ricky's gonna
barracks
continue
have
the
been
beats.
posted.
So
Standard
Kibler's going to be
sealed
forced
players.
to
Your
throw away
barracks
that
have been
Daybreak
posted.
Ranger. And now his golems no longer have first strike, so one of them will perish.
I wonder why he didn't block with his Fiend Hunter again on the Strangleroot guys.
I'm not sure, but a Daybreak Ranger for Ricky. Still no red mana for Brian.
I can feel Brian Kibler lamenting the fact, even if he's not saying verbalizing it, you could just see and every draw step.
Yeah.
He's just the body language in his hands. He's like, "Yep, there's my 3 Huntmasters. Good, that's the best acidic slime ever, Ricky Sidher." Like, well, thank you.
So there you get a look at Ricky Sidher.
I wasn't done with the.
I'm sorry.
It's over now. I mean, you interrupted Ricky Sidher and what he had to say, so I guess we'll just listen to you. What do you have to say, Ben?
I was going to say, there you get a good look at Ricky Sidher. He takes first game here of round 8 at Grand Prix Salt Lake City over Brian Kibler.
Hey, is that where we are?
Yep. Beautiful Salt Lake City.
I've been here before.
You've been to Salt Lake?
I have.
Why were you here before?
For work. There's a Department of Justice office here. I did some work for them.
Did you do some justice?
Oh.
You brought the justice?
I brought the justice. Not the justice. The
you
just
are the
ice.
justice? You are the justice?
Yeah. No, the just ice.
I don't get it.
If you are
Just
currently playing an 8-player side event,
ice.
you will now report
Like
the
iced
results
tea?
directly to the side event stage.
Put them together.
All
Just
8-player
ice.
side events will report the results to the side event stage.
Now read it together.
I don't get it.
Okay. Just
Just?
ice.
Ice.
Okay. Now squish them together like it's an electric company. Remember the electric company? Okay. You got
That was-
just ice, and then they go.
Just
to get,
ice.
Yes, that's the word I wanted you to say. Just ice.
Wait, that's not right?
That you know what? You are amazing at word games of all shapes, and all sizes,
And drawing games.
and all drawing games. Oh, if you combine the two, you are the best. So let's look at these sideboards.
That was a good segue.
So look at Ricky Sidher sideboard, and got some interesting ones. Here's an interesting one.
Act of aggression.
Yeah, what? I wonder, does that one come in? When does that one come in?
Against probably a Primeval Titan type deck.
Is that an instant?
It is.
Aggression? That used to come in against the Splinter Twin decks,
Right, but I don't think...
but now you can't.
Yeah.
You can't Splinter Twin, right? That's not a deck anymore.
It's not.
I guess you bring it in against Freaks. I'd bring it in against not Primeval Titan. Well, maybe.
Grave Titan.
I'll take a Titan
Yeah.
for a turn. It feels nice. Nothing else really in here of unless he wants to play the Mana Barbs game with
I don't
Brian
think he wants to
Kibler.
play that game.
It's not a fun game. Have you ever played the Mana Barbs game?
You mean the arcade game? Yeah, I play that all the time.
No, not that one.
Back at the pool hall.
No, I mean, the game of Magic where
Yes,
there's a Mana
yes.
Barbs in play.
I have played that game.
It's not fun. So Brian, on the other hand, has a bunch of scribbles in his sideboard. Not sure which scribbles he's going to bring in.
He's likely going to bring in an Ancient Grudge.
Yeah, probably that scribble. Ancient Grudge. That's probably the most legible card in his sideboard.
Ancient Grudge. Celestial Purge is a little more legible.
Is that Incinerate?
Yes.
Attention Magic
He still
players.
has 3 Daybreak Rangers.
Probably going to take those Thalias out. I don't see they're doing anything. He
Yeah,
has
an
a couple
aggro
in
and
his main, a couple on the board, and the 2-1 first strike part is sometimes cool. It was really good in draft, and constructed. That's not why you're playing that card. You're playing it so that Faith of Fluting costs 2 and 4, and everything's just a little bit slower. Just slow things down, especially Freaks.
Yep. So players are getting shuffled up for game 2 here.
I'm surprised that Brian Kibler's shuffling so slow.
Well, he wants to.
He must be thinking about something.
Maybe a little angry about how the last game played out.
Well, I mean, he did have a red source, so he can't really blame his deck.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's being aggressive on the number of mana sources he's playing.
He's got, what, 15?
Actually, he's playing 24.
24.
It's 24 and birds and elves. Okay, maybe he should be. Maybe he deserves to be a little perturbed. Eight birds and elves. 8 birds / elves, and 24 actual land. That's standard for, I think, for standard these days. A deck that has 8 1-drop mana sources and 24 land. That seems like the perfect number.
Yep. So, players are drawing their opening hands. Let's see how game 2 goes here. So, looks like both players are gonna keep.
Yeah, I see a green source and a bird and a Llanowar elf, or in Kibler's hand. I think, and I mean that's what he moved to the front. I think that's what he is most happy to see.
Oh,
but I guess it wasn't enough.
yeah,
I
Kibler's
think I also saw a Strangleroot Geist, but maybe not a second land, and he doesn't want to lose to Galvanic Blast.
Sure. Or a gut shot if Ricky were playing that.
Yeah, he doesn't know exactly what burn. He didn't see any burn game 1, so it could be anything. Could be anything.
I mean, it's interesting, all the different red burn spells that all of these decks can play. Gut shot, or gutter ball, as I like to call it, was really popular for a very long time, especially against the Delver decks.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fallen out of favor in the other red decks. I mean, everybody used to be jamming for gut shot in all their decks.
Well, the red decks have such better options. Gut shot, 1 damage for 1 card. That's when you're a red deck, that's what you're looking at, cards per damage. And not really mana per damage, only in the effect of this spell is 3 damage for 2 mana, and this spell is 3 damage for 3 mana. So obviously the 2 mana one's better.
Sure.
But you want your cards to do as much damage as possible, other than just to be as the most efficient in regards to, I can cast this while tapped out and just deal 1 damage. Red doesn't want to do that.
Okay.
Maybe it's a sideboard card. You bring it in a sideboard in case you just
Against mana elves decks. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the only thing against mana elves, and maybe to snipe a Delver on the play or something.
So there we go.
On the draw.
A turn 2 Strangleroot Geist for Brian Kibler. Start things off. Let's see what Ricky can follow that up with. Green Sun Zenith for 1. Presumably getting a Llanowar Elves or a Birds of Paradise.
A little bit better than Llanowar Elf.
Kibler going to get in again for 2. Pass the turn back with 3 lands up.
Yeah, I really feel bad for Llanowar Elf.
Why?
He's been playing second fiddle to so many 1-drop mana accelerants.
Fandor and Elves?
Well, they played together. When it was those 2 guys, they work well together. But Birds of Paradise has always been better. There's at least been a few decks where you want the 1 power over the mana flexibility. But now it's just you need the mana flexibility. And like Birds of Paradise and Avacyn's Pilgrim, they just do a better job.
A turn 3 Huntmaster of the Fells for Ricky Sidher. Gain him 2 life, put a wolf token into play. And Kibler, all he has is Birds of Paradise. So again, he's stuck on 3 lands. He needs that fourth mana.
I mean, he got the 4th mana, which is, I mean, the way that his deck is built, one of his first 4 mana sources is bound to be a bird, an elf, or an Avacyn's Pilgrim. And he really can't expect to go 1, 2, 3, 4 land. And the expectation is kind of 1, 2, 3 land with an elf or a bird, and have had that on turn 3, not turn 4.
Sure. But showing that Kibler was sort of stuck on lands, Ricky took advantage of it there and cast Galvanic Blast on the Birds of Paradise.
I'm always a fan of both the bird, both the elf. Mostly because...
Both the leech?
Yeah, well, I haven't bolted any leeches, but mostly because, I'm a green player. I play a lot of birds and elves, and back in the day, there are a lot of red decks, and there are lightning bolts and shocks, and I've had my fair share of turn 1 plays lightning bolted or shocked away.
Sure.
And
But,
it's quite shocking, actually, when that happens.
Huntmaster Fells transforms here. And looks like Ricky's going to cast another Huntmaster of the Fells. Getting another wolf, another 2 life. Kibler's really in trouble here. And that's it. Kibler concedes the match. Ricky Sidher wins 2-0 here in round 8 of Grand Prix Salt Lake City. There you get a good look at Ricky Sidher.
You know, I mean that it's kind of a classic outcome where you have the deck with some cheap burn versus the deck that's semi-reliant on birds and elves for its mana. And if you don't get the birds and elves early and are able to drop your 4-drop on turn 3, and you're stuck trying to develop your mana, all it takes is a galvanic blast, and you stumble long enough for your opponent just to run you over.